The plan didn't fail. Reality showed up.
We didn't come into this thinking we were reckless. We came into it thinking we were smart. You would have agreed with us. At the time, it didn't just make sense, it felt obvious.
The house was small, just under 40 square meters. 2 rooms, clay walls, wooden structure. Simple and honest. The kind of house you look at and immediately think, this is manageable. This is doable. This is where we started. Our idea with €15,000 was to renovate the entire house, start to finish. And logically, it worked because of its size. 1 room would become a bedroom. We planned to vault the ceiling to create height and air, to make the space feel larger than it actually was. The second room would be the heart of the house, a living space with a 4-sided fireplace in the middle, a small kitchenette on the side, and just enough space for a table. Intimate and intentional.
It fitted perfectly into the tiny house movement. The quiet getaway, it was supposed to be a place for couples. The house was made from clay and wood. We didn't expect heavy costs. The plan was to refresh the clay walls with a new layer and respect the old structure.
Along the side of the house, there was a long shed, and we planned to turn that into an ensuite bathroom for the bedroom and a little extended nook in the living room for a table. Everything was measured, everything was drawn to scale. We did the plans back in Ireland, carefully, realistically, and on paper. Nothing looked impossible.
When we arrived and started working, the first few days felt as expected. Before touching anything else, I focused on the roof. I spent 3 full days up there using a wire brush to scrape decades of rust off the old metal sheets, washing them down and then painting them blue.
The original vision was a white house with a blue roof and blue details, inspired by old porcelain patterns. I even imagined blue floral motifs painted on the walls. That's how convinced we were that this was the final version, that the plan would hold. For a brief moment, everything felt light. We were excited. Our dog matched that energy instantly. Running, spinning, feeding off of our excitement like he always does. We were shocked how big he looked, still carrying his winter weight, moving like a tank full of joy. And right in the middle of that moment, we had a new member of the family, Okian. Small, curious, completely unaware of the chaos he was about to grow up in.
Here is the house. There's my Merc. There's my dog, Morphus. There's my weights. I'm gonna use them. There is my jacuzzi, and there's the gate. And this is the house, so... Then the real work started. Dust everywhere, physical work. The house had been used as storage, so we cleared it room by room. We cleared the attic and found pieces of the past. Glasses, jugs, oil lamps. Proof that this house had already lived several lives before us. Once the rooms were cleared, we measured again. Exactly as before. Still, something felt different.
Then, the fireplace arrived. We didn't just buy the fireplace, we hunted it. We started in Romania, this continued. Then we went global. Russia, Poland, France, the UK, Ireland, Australia. Thousands of emails. Different suppliers, same answer every time. No stock, no hope, just silence. Right when we were ready to give up, I messaged an old Facebook page about fireplaces. Ancient, like zero expectations. Pure desperation, and somehow they replied. One message, one tip. Try Hungary. Hungary wasn't even on our radar, but we tried. More emails, more waiting, and then suddenly there it was. The exact fireplace we've been hunting for half a year. So when you look at this fireplace, don't think decoration. Think 6 months of stubbornness, emails, and refusing to let it go.
Now that our dream fireplace was staring back at us, we measured everything again and realized we could follow the plans exactly as we'd drawn them. Everything would line up, everything would work, but it wouldn't feel right. So we broke the ceiling in the living room in the hope that it would make the room feel bigger. The idea was simple: more height, more air, more light, let the room breathe a little. In reality, the house took it personally. The ceiling wasn't drywall, it was layers of old wood slats, chicken wire and clay.
So much clay, kilos of it. We can still taste it. It was so much work for me. The contrast was brutal. Just months earlier, I was living in Ireland, working in an office, sitting behind a desk. Now, I was in Romania on a construction site, running wheelbarrows, lifting timber, covered in dust from morning to night. The shift was physical, but was also mental. Everything I knew had changed, but I welcomed it. That's what we needed. Our own project, our own slightly unhinged dream. Our own guest house born out of an unreasonable amount of dust. And the demolition was therapy. We didn't talk about stress or anger. We fed it to the walls. The attic especially didn't stand a chance. Swinging hammers up there felt personal, like the house had been hoarding our frustrations for decades, and we were finally allowed to collect. Brick by brick, hit by hit, things starting to loosen. Muscles, tempers, thoughts, very affordable couples counselling if you ignore the risk of structural collapse.
Then we moved on to the chimneys, because of course the house had two fireplaces built from brick and clay. Knocking them down was slow, dirty work, clouds of clay dust everywhere. Our noses turned into active mud volcanoes. Every breath felt crunchy. We'd blow our noses and just stare at the results in silence, like wow, that came out of a human body.
We retained all of the bricks, as we would use them to make an outdoor barbecue area and a pizza oven. The original wooden porch that wrapped around the house looked charming, past tense. Years ago, someone sealed it with concrete for easier maintenance. Translation, they suffocated it. By the time we found it, the damage was already done, and it went deeper than the porch. The bottom wooden beams, the ones carrying the weight of the entire house, were also rotten. There was no fixing or reinforcing them. They had to be replaced completely. Underpinning wasn't part of the original plan, but suddenly it was unavoidable. That was the moment we understood something important. We hadn't really started a renovation yet. We were still in the phase of discovering what the house actually was. Underpinning was slow and demanding work. It had to be done carefully, in stages, with no room for shortcuts. Seeing the house essentially suspended in the air on acro props was surreal and a little terrifying. Eddie wasn't shocked by any of it. He had the experience and had expected to find dry rot and hidden problems. At first, he was energized by fixing what others had ignored. But as the weeks passed by, even he started to feel the weight of it. The original plan of 3 months slowly stopped making sense.
We knew the timeline would fall apart. Somewhere in the middle of all that, a new thought crept in. If we were already this deep, already lifting the house, already rebuilding its bones, maybe this was the moment to rethink more than just repairs. The idea of an extension started quietly. And here is the next room. It's identical, so in size. That's it. So that's why I need another room here onto this side. There's going to be another room from here till that car there. What if the house needed more than fixing? What if it needed space to grow into what we wanted it to be?
We carried on with the demolition works, removing walls to join the existing shed where the ensuite bathroom would be, and also the sofa area. Clearing out the shed was not easy either. By then, the renovation had changed shape.
Here's a smile. I'm gonna put you on Facebook. I'm gonna show everybody.
After we finished clearing out the shed, we found the rock foundation of the house. We saw that it was in pretty good condition considering the house was 70 years old. However, we needed to reinforce it with concrete to make sure that it's very stable. It wasn't about restoring what was there anymore. It was about deciding how far we were willing to go and whether this house could become something more than it had ever been. The truth was, there was no version of this project that stayed small. Keeping the house as it was would have been the safer choice, but it would have meant building something limited from the very start. We were standing at a point where stopping felt easier than continuing, and continuing meant changing everything. That was the moment the project stopped being flexible. Whatever we chose next would define the rest of the build. This was episode 1. Before the extension, before you decide if this was ambition or just ego dressed up as a vision.